June 11th, 2020 Planning Board meeting. I almost said tonight's, just cover my butt. But anyway. The first item on the agenda is conceptual discussion. I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Mr. Rivero at 65 North Stark Highway. In the commercial district, he's proposing the use of a seasonal farmers markets. This is at the corner of Quaker Street and, okay, Quaker Street and 114. So this place has 2 residents in it, is that right?
It's,
2 rental units, I should say.
it has been 2 or 3 rental units in the history.
Oh, sorry, you have to come to the podium, please. We have a
It's the-
large TV audience that needs to hear you.
Microphone
Not now,
for the
right?
recording secretary as well.
And my name is Matt. My
Matt?
son Merrick owns the property.
Okay.
He is homesick right now. The
boy.
COVID test came back negative, so he's fine. It's just the flu. But, so I'm coming tonight, is representing him. And yes, it's the corner of Quaker and North Stark. I've heard that it has been both multi-resident, 2 or 3 units, and there's retail space in it. I guess there used to be a gun shop and the like. It's got all kinds of different history.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be apartments back in the 70s and early 80s.
A what?
It was apartments and there was a law
Yes.
office in there back in the late 70s and into the early 80s. And then it changed hands and became single family. And then it came before the town to add that back part. It was all single family the past several years. And then
I thought there was 2 apartments in it for quite a while, no?
I think
They
there were
changed-
2 apartments.
they changed it
because
all back to single family, and then they turned us, the Woods did, and then they turned that, they did divide that back. It was more like a, it wasn't even enough to live in. It was a small room that they put into a gun shop for, what's his name, up on Thorndike.
Yeah.
Kenny.
Yeah.
And then they, then he turned, and Scott turned it back to residence again. He turned that as part of the residence, this last, before,
Yeah, I haven't
He
got
got
all the
hurt.
history. We haven't gotten all the history of it yet, but it looks like it has been all kinds of different things at times.
yep.
There was a lot of history on the tax cards. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, it's, but I remember the one that had it the longest that I remember was John Palmer when he, like I said, he had his law office there, he had apartments, and he had 3 apartments in there and a
Yep.
law office.
So we do have that zoning ordinance that says 2 years of discontinuance, so has it been mixed use the last 2 years? Do you think?
Gunny's been out of there
For a
for
while.
quite a while,
Yeah.
and then it went back to being just one family
Single
residence,
residence,
single residence.
So what is it now, single resident?
Yeah, when Scott, well, Woody,
So when Woody
due to
bought
his,
it,
due to his illness, when he moved out because he lost it, it was at a single residence, because he changed that where the gun shop was in the back, he changed that as to part of the main structure, and it was like his man cave, he called it, so.
So
I don't know if that changes on the record or not.
How is that allowed, though, if there's no single residential allowed in the commercial district?
It's always been that way. I mean, you've got,
Because of the history, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the property when it was condemned, because there were 2 apartments upstairs
Yeah.
that didn't have proper egress and safety rails.
right, that's what,
So Chip, I went to Chip and I talked to him about it, and he said, if you're gonna use it as single residence, there's nothing wrong with the house.
that's right,
But because of those apartments, these violations have not been addressed. So,
yeah.
So the situation now, taking into account grandfathering and everything else, is that we have a property in the commercial district which has a grandfathered single-family residence.
Yeah, it had been there before zoning, so, yeah.
But that's.
It's gone back, I remember it's gone back and forth, because I knew somebody that lived up there, a friend of mine lived up there for a while, and then he got out because of the, you know,
Yeah, but because of what Kelly said about the 2-year
yeah, and it's been,
abandonment. So the
it's-
situation now,
yeah, all the 2 years since Gunny moved out and it was back to single family.
so
At
we're
least.
down to a
At least.
single-family, which is a grandfathered use
Yep,
in the commercial district.
right,
And the proposal now
is to go back,
is to add a different business.
is to put a business.
So they had a
Right.
farmer's market basically to it.
but he can't have a farmer's market. I mean, basically, he's selling food. That's what he wants to do.
Well, it says,
not a farm.
foods and crafts.
Correct. It's not, it's, by definition, it's not a farmer's
It's-
market,
yeah.
per,
It's not a
per
farm.
RSA
It's not a
definition.
Retail
farmer's
services.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's what
I
this
don't,
says.
I don't see what the problem is, because it's, you know, it says retail and service establishments. It goes on to include grocery, drugstore, general merchandise.
Right,
I would say if anything, it'd be more conforming than,
Right.
right.
So,
My-
the fact that
the
he's
only-
calling it a farmer's
the only-
market
the only
isn't-
thing-
isn't really relevant.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
the only thing I see that's could be a problem, and it has been when Woody lived there, was that the driveway, you know, to see as far as traffic impact, because
Well, that
they
was-
used to
that-
come
that was-
flying in and out of that driveway. They'd use it as a shortcut to come
Yeah.
either onto or off of Quaker Street.
Yep.
And there were several close calls there, so that's the only thing I could see is a traffic impact.
my
So-
understanding is one of the questions is, does he need a site plan?
And, yeah, that's a
And
possibility.
the reason it was so confusing
I
for me
think
to
yes, but-
interpret was because
I'd say yes,
in
too.
the past,
when
the
I'm looking at it.
agricultural farmer's market has been the products that you grow are being sold in a shed. This is going to have vendors in the parking
Right.
lot in odd hours, as well as apartments inside.
You're gonna turn it back into a.
One apartment.
Yeah, not right away.
Gonna be
We've
mixed
got
use.
Yeah.
One.
one apartment,
One, so
One
one
apartment,
apartment and
but
one
it's-
business.
correct.
Can you
Hey,
do that?
I don't think he could do that.
I don't think you can do
No,
that either.
not do both.
No.
And then I think if he
Well,
puts,
wait a minute, he has the residence right now.
right, but if you put an apartment in there,
The.
Oh, I'm saying one unit, one residence.
okay, so,
No,
you know,
no,
you said
no.
apartment, so that means,
Well,
okay,
one,
Well, he's gonna rent it,
Well,
so.
half-
Residential
so
unit.
it's gonna be a
Yes.
All that
residence.
that property has now,
Yep,
and under our zoning, is all that it can have.
right, that's right.
So you cannot take that residence and convert it into a residence and an apartment.
Okay,
It has to be just a single family,
Single family house.
Is what there is.
plus
plus putting the business,
The business is fine.
business is fine, right? I think the
As an
issue,
office? Are you saying it's a fine as an office in that building? Or are the business is fine only outside as it's described here?
The business could go
I,
in the office.
I think the business is.
But there's no office,
It's an
technically.
allowed use.
well, I mean, if you took that, at that end,
that's
that
all
end spot where the gun
determined.
shop was at one point, you could probably convert that back to to an office.
yeah, it's basically retail space. It's
Yeah.
not livable, it's not
Yeah.
a,
He could convert the entire property into office space if he wanted to.
Right,
Abandon the single-family residence
Yep.
and make it into offices.
right.
You could never go back to the single-family residence again.
Mhm.
But I think the question is, does he need a site plan? I think he does.
After what Jack said, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Parking's an issue.
The parking is an issue. I mean,
Because if it's gonna be every
It used-
Saturday,
it used to be an issue when it was just one or two customers in there for the gun shop. I mean,
But by our regulations, says any change in use of a site or structure when such
Yeah.
change materially or substantially
And like-
different from the previous use. Well, the previous use is no commercial, so yes, it's substantially
but
different.
the reason I questioned that was because it was agricultural, and the last two, we didn't need site plan, so I was not
Well,
gonna
yeah,
make that
this
decision.
isn't,
I know, it's a
this
little
isn't really a
different.
farmer's market though by definition.
right.
a farmer's
But farmer's
market, by
market, he has to be the
definition,
farmer.
is somebody that grows food themselves
And sells it.
and then
That's
takes it
what
and
we do
sells
here.
it, and it's like a truck
it's a
farm.
farm stand is
I
what I
think
would think.
I think the ordinance allows a farm stand.
Farm
A
stand,
farmer's market, a
yeah.
farm stand.
And this is,
Where at least 35% of the goods sold have to have been raised
Yes.
on the property.
that's right,
That's not this.
not
that's
this
not
state.
this.
Or
This is
farmers,
strictly whatever you want to call it, it has nothing to do with agriculture.
it's a retail, yeah.
It's grocery retail with
Yep.
local vendors.
So how is this any different than what happens downtown on a Saturday?
What do you mean?
There's a
That-
farmer's
that-
market on the town green, town square, or whatever you
Yeah,
want to
there
call
was,
it,
yeah.
on Saturdays.
Is that like a temporary yard sale,
That's a-
seasonal thing?
It's
Yeah,
a little bit different because that's town-owned property and the town is exempt from zoning.
And they allow, he gets a permission to set up there. He, that's always been and I'm not gonna go into the history of that, because that was a bone of contention for a while, too.
Oh, boy.
It came before the selectmen, so,
So this would be similar to what Moody Pond,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
right. That's a perfect example.
What would be, this scenario would be?
This would be
like
more like, yeah,
It's
something
just
like
like
Moody
Moody
Pond.
Yes, that's what she had in there. Doesn't really do
and
any
so I don't
more.
know what
Yeah,
her,
the
Couple years ago.
vegetables and corn and
Right.
stuff like that, yeah.
And did she come in for a site plan? do you know?
Yes.
Yes.
So I can look up her site plan for history.
Yeah.
Okay. So you will need a site plan review.
Okay,
What's that application that I sent you
Yep.
for, just in case, and to have all your plans ready?
okay.
And then I can give you a call tomorrow, we can set up some timelines.
Sure.
Parking and traffic are gonna be the issues, I believe.
I actually drew up some pictures where parking could be, because the field is, you can drive in the field, if that's where the farmer's market will be. So there's parking for 38 cars, the way I measured it, which was gonna be way more.
38,
Yes,
and you're gonna have vendors?
yes.
Where's the septic system out there?
No,
In the field behind the house.
Yeah, it's in the field behind the house, but there's a block wall that's on the north end.
That's awful wet out there.
Stone wall, and a stone wall along the west side. The north end is 100 feet, and the west side is 130 feet, and even using 10 feet wide, which is wide.
So you're talking about them towards the
North end,
the field or the backyard towards
Out where
the, towards the animal hospital,
yes.
and then up that way. Okay.
Yeah.
It's awful wet up there, so.
what we might wanna do is, if we want to do
In
a
the middle of the
sidewalk, we can
field.
schedule it now,
So the
then you could do an
front lawn
expedited application.
Yeah.
That abuts 114 would.
Yeah, that's all
It's
wetlands.
pretty damp back there.
Peter's
The first
That's right,
20
I
or
know
30
exactly
feet in, but
It's pretty
that,
good back there.
that
Well,
abuts
borders the wetlands.
114, there's a triangular
All
piece
the
that
way
would
down
not be
Quaker
used
Street,
except
down
for
along by the ball fields and comes right out. through,
excess
because that's where they
parking.
were talking about making a
But
road at one point.
the
because
main
of the ball
field behind the
No
building
way.
that borders on 114, it would be using that field,
Oh,
the north wall
We said we
for
could do a site-
parking,
we'll
the
schedule a
west
site
wall
walk.
for parking, in the middle of the
and
field
that's here
for
with
vendors.
Or can I do the?
I have some, so if you want to see some pictures of the lot,
Don't need to see it now, but when you do the site plan.
okay.
Are you coming off 114 or Quaker Street to access?
My thought would be, and it's not a permanent decision, is to come in off of 114 there's a 40-foot wide driveway there that actually has a piece that goes towards the field and a piece that goes across the front of the building towards Quaker. And then exit traffic onto Quaker, which would be much safer, so they can go up to the stop sign to get back onto.
The one thing you probably will need, not might, probably will need is a new driveway permit from DOT.
Yep.
Because you change the use of a
That's
driveway,
awful.
change the use of a driveway, you have to get a new driveway
And
permit.
that's awful wet in there by the edge of that driveway. When you back off that driveway, it gets wet in there.
In the triangle section,
No, I'm not
Yes.
talking the center, I'm talking about on the right as you're looking at it from the road towards the
Oh, where the
mobile.
disc
That's
golf
that's all
thing
borders
is
the
right now.
wetlands up there.
yep. Well, most of it's dry. There's one spot, maybe 20 feet around, that's muddy right now, and I just had dirt filled in there yesterday.
No, we don't want to hear about you filling a wetland.
Well, apparently somebody in the past had been riding a motorcycle, and there was a big pile of dirt in the middle of the field that was used as a jump, and we just shoveled it into the muddy section. That's all we did. We moved it
A dirt bike.
20
on there.
feet.
I'll show you the RSA's the town has on wetlands.
Okay.
I'll forward it to you.
Do we want to do a site walk so we could do an expedited application?
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, I've driven by it 100.
I've been out there a bunch of
I've been
times,
in
so
the
I
back
know,
a
I mean,
couple
I've
times.
been actually out on the property a bunch of times, so, with when Woody lived there.
Would it- would it be a good
Well, I
time?
would like to see it. I haven't really walked it and to see
So
where,
Thursday-
how you're gonna set it up, I guess.
Wednesday night would be a good time for a site walk.
Is it going to be raining Wednesday?
Well, I'm just saying, I should say
Wednesday,
a
I
Wednesday.
can't Wednesday, I'm working. Thursday'd be better,
Next Thursday?
yeah.
Well, she doesn't work Thursday.
Yes, well, we are working now.
Get back to the regular schedule. Yeah, they're working,
You're done at 1.
We're doing 4 10-hour
they're doing
days.
410s, starting Tuesday. The
Well, that
town
must
is
be nice.
opening back up,
What was the DOT driveway?
permit.
Driveway
Permit.
permit. It's going to be, you already have one for that property, but it's gonna be a change of use for that driveway. So check with
What would-
DOT.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm just wondering what the use was and
Yeah.
why does this represent a change?
Yeah,
It's
any new
commercial.
use, you need a new driveway permit from the state.
Yep.
Was that?
We can check.
Anytime you change the use, you need a new driveway. If you take a single-family residence and make it a two-family, technically you need a new driveway permit.
We can just check,
They-
check with them to make
There's no
sure.
fee for the DOT, and they process them pretty
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, contact,
Scott Looney,
yep.
or else Brian DeFosis.
I'll give you the number.
Great.
So could we
Now,
hold,
sorry.
could we hold this hearing for the first meeting in July, or do we wait until the second meeting when we have hearings in July?
I would prefer to wait till the 23rd.
Of July?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be the second, yeah, second and fourth, 23rd.
Is it your intent to start this year?
Yes, it had been.
Oh, well. I guess we'd be nice meeting the 9th. I was trying with the COVID thing to have one meeting a month, that's all.
Well, we could skip the second meeting and just have the first meeting.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to have
Have it
it.
on the 9th?
We have it on the
Or the-
the 9th,
Skip the
and then don't
23rd.
have the 23rd, because it's vacations anyway.
Yeah,
Could do that.
okay.
It's vacations.
People have been on
Sorry, we had
vacation for
months
months.
off. We just had
People have been on vacation for months now. Okay, so let's assume he gets his application in on time so we can meet the 9th.
okay.
So when do you want to walk it?
As I said, next Thursday,
Next Thursday?
Next Thursday, the 18th?
the 18th,
Thursday is what date? The 18th?
Yes.
June 18th,
What time?
But then-
5:15.
Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna say you work till 5, so
I work till
5,
5 now, so
5:15, then
5:15.
you can go home.
Would that be okay?
That's fine.
Yep.
Did you catch that, Bruce?
Yeah, the 18th at 5:15.
Yes. Oop, I just changed the time.
Now, is the property now considered a single-family residence? Because I was told that specifically could not be that.
Who told
No,
you that?
it couldn't be if this were a new use
If-
for a
Yeah.
commercial property.
Right.
Right, you have an existing
But you're grandfathered.
non-conforming use.
Okay.
'Cause it-
Yeah, you have an existing non-conforming use, so unless the use gets interrupted for 2 years, the use is still there.
Which it has been, I mean, as far as commercial, it was interrupted
When
for 2
was-
years.
Is that,
Okay, because
First
actually I was
tax card
talking with
can cover
Scott,
that?
because his parents live
Yep.
next door.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't realize the gun shop had been gone that long.
oh, yeah.
It's been a
Okay.
while.
yeah, I didn't either, I didn't
It's
realize
gone
he'd been.
probably,
Because it's,
it's probably, Gunny's probably been gone closer to about 4 years,
yeah,
at least.
because he moved from his house to there, moved back to his house,
Yeah,
his
sold out the
house-
gun shop and then it left the house and
left
moved
the
to
house
South
for 2
Carolina.
years, and then it finally just sold last year.
Yeah,
So it's been
it's
a
up
while.
for sale again. Well, it was abandoned, he just abandoned it,
Yeah, he
basically.
was walking, but he was, I don't know what he had. He was had cancer.
Oh, did he?
Down in South Carolina someplace, so.
Okay.
It doesn't
We'll
say
just-
on the tax card. Okay,
Any more questions for us?
No. Well, I just learned something. Could it stay a single-family residence? Because that had never been a consideration
Yeah.
when we bought the,
You can, my
Yeah.
understanding that you can continue to use it as a
Single-family
single-family
residence.
Right,
And in addition, the businesses that you're talking about.
right.
could we rent it out as a single-family residence? and
Yes.
continue?
Yes.
Yeah.
One,
It's
one,
just-
one unit.
Just one
Oh, yeah.
unit.
One, yeah,
who
One
lives there
family.
is not our concern, it's just
Okay.
as long as it's
But you
one
can't put it into apartments like it used to because it doesn't conform, it doesn't have this, life safety,
yeah,
no
because we
extra
were,
egresses,
So that's not a
Yeah.
grandfathered either.
and that's not, no.
Right.
No, it doesn't have, and I knew way back in the day, it didn't have proper,
And the tax card claims it's got 5 bedrooms.
yeah.
Right, that's what I was going
Plumbing.
by when we first,
We didn't have proper plumbing and heating in there
Yeah.
at the time either, back.
is there a
back in the day.
percentage of the residential that, versus the business or an office for like the farmer's market or retail?
Well, you're planning to use that end room,
If
right?
you use that end
Yeah,
room that
it's-
you was the gun shop,
Which
yeah.
is-
So it's more than 50% would be residential?
Yeah, because that was part of the residence,
In
there's like
in
a
this
shed.
case, he's got
or
an existing
whatever.
non-conforming use, he's gonna make it, putting the commercial in there, basically
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna
more
make it more
conforming.
conforming.
Right, he's gonna be more conforming, so it doesn't matter if it's 1% or if it's 70%.
If you were to convert if it's 5 bedrooms?
Well, we don't know what's in there now.
5 or 6,
If
yeah.
you were to convert that to a single-family residence with 3 bedrooms and use the extra space for commercial, the freed-up space for commercial, that would be conforming, that would be.
Well, it's got 5, maybe 6 bedrooms, depending on how you count it. separate from the retail
Yeah,
space.
that other part was modified
Yep.
back when Gunny had to leave Thorndike with his business. He had to find another place to put it, so they cut that door in
Well, no,
and did all
the
that.
previous owner to Scott before Gunny came had sold handmade birdhouses out
Yeah,
of that end of
right,
the
that's right.
building.
But they redid,
I always know it as the birdhouse house.
they redid a lot more. I know they put the door in different, they
Yeah.
changed all of that.
So they just
for a separate
modified
entrance,
that,
yeah.
but,
Yeah, so we
and
don't really
re-sided it, put
define
new
mixed
windows
use
in.
Put new
in our
windows,
zone.
put a closet, put a
Have a
bathroom.
mixed use zone.
No.
There's a couple of bathrooms in that.
No, but I mean, in that
Go
end,
by,
In that end. there are
oh,
two
the
bathrooms.
second one was
case by
additional
case.
one, because there was
Yeah.
only one in there
Yeah.
All right.
when the gun
I
shop
think we
was
have
there.
a request for a
If he has
building
5
permit
bedrooms,
because
better
we
have
want
one
to
bathroom.
expand the door. It's a single, narrow door to get
At
in.
least one.
Not real convenient. We want to put double doors in, but we
Like French doors or something.
yeah, commercial glass, 2-door open.
Yeah,
And then July,
Yeah, that's-
July hearing.
Okay.
Okay,
sounds good. So next Wednesday at 5:15?
Thursday.
Thursday, rather, 5:15?
5:15 at the site.
Okay.
Right,
And then we'll work on the application. I'll give you a
for
call
the
tomorrow.
site plan. And that doesn't take very long, does it? The site plan?
It depends on who shows up. It depends on the board's questions.
The site walk.
Usually not that long
You
of
have
a
to, is there any
timeframe,
notification of
Yep.
but I have to have the
Abutters.
application and the abutters in
Harry
order to notify
and the
for
people
July
in the
11th.
apartment over
Okay.
there?
Across the road,
I'll
the
go
whole
over that
nine,
with you.
everything.
Ninth.
Yeah, all the
Great.
butters.
Okay.
You
Yep.
gotta notify all the abutters and that kind of thing too.
Excuse me?
She'll be sending certified letters to all the abutters and so forth. Yep, okay. All right,
All right.
See
thank
you next
very
week.
much.
Great, thank
Thank you for your
you.
time.
I have a question of order.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
I appoint Pastor Bill voting member in case we have to vote on something.
Oh, that was nice. Yeah, that was a good point of order at this point.
Is that the point of order?
That's the point of order.
There you go. He beat-
Courtney, did you get that?
I'm an alternate.
He read your mind.
Okay, so if
She
we
took
have to
care of it.
vote on something, Pastor is a voting member.
Which we may have to.
Yes, we got that last time.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
by our
Oh, yeah, I gotta appoint you.
bylaws, you have to do it every
I
time.
know.
Yep.
I always forget that. Not always. I didn't last time.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
He was
You
out in
did.
the sun too much today.
Usually,
Pretty official. Pretty official and impressive.
Okay.
who else wanted the new zoning? I mean, do you need yours, 3?
I printed.
No, I'll take it. I'll three-hole punch it
I
myself.
can punch it.
I get a three-hole punch at home.
Jack would like one, and I'll get it
And
for
you got yours
I
already?
printed one.
for
Oh, okay.
Courtney and Neil.
That'd be great.
So the second item on the agenda is Kelly's job of reviewing the building permit fee schedule. Oh, boy. Is this for me or for everybody?
Well, it's what I passed out last
Yeah.
Oh.
meeting. It was just a, my thought of process.
Oh, we got it here.
I have that.
Yeah, I got it someplace too. Whoa, jeez. The good thing is, I was complaining that the boss stole my hard road to travel the other day, and guess what I found in my book?
Your hard road to travel.
My hard road to travel. I'm not gonna apologize to the boss, but that's beside the point.
It's the Bible.
Yeah.
Was this, notice of the public hearing for modifying the building fees?
Yes, this was in the paper.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay.
Posted. Yep, public hearing. Does this have to go to the Board of Selectmen too? The other ones didn't. It just said planning board in the building permit ordinance before.
Where it's
Planning
involving
board who
fees,
sets the fee.
any type of fee, I believe it does.
Okay, so whatever the planning board recommends, you just go to.
Forward it to them, yeah, and then we'll review it at the
Okay.
board and then.
Okay.
Wait a second, I thought that what we were doing was amending the planning board document.
Well, I think there was also brought
Yeah,
up,
that's- I thought-
I thought there was a discussion at the last meeting about modifying the fees too, because there was
Yes.
talk of,
Great.
so I think at that point, then it's not just modifying the document, but you're changing the fee schedule. That's listed on this document here.
But aren't the fees part of the document?
Yes.
But the document that we were handed, what we talked about for fees is different than what's on here.
No, what I mean is that the
I got lost.
fees are set in a document that the planning board amends.
Right.
The subdivision
But
regulations.
anytime I think you
Well, this
thought
isn't
you had to do
subdivision, this is
fees, I
building
thought it
permit.
had to go back to the selectmen to make sure that it was,
No, we don't have to for subdivision site plan.
okay, then
I don't know,
I stand
I
corrected.
don't, to be honest, I don't know about building permits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Jack
just to do with
reports to the
permits.
selectmen anyway,
So,
so we
yeah,
could
that's
just,
just something
if
that-
it's in the minutes, it will be.
Yep,
That's your job, Jack.
yeah, I know.
You handle it.
That's, sound like that mayor on that TV show.
Regardless of what the legality is, I think as a common courtesy,
Well, yes.
the selectmen should be made aware of this so that they can figure out the financial implications and say, hey, guys, if you do what you're proposing to do, here are the consequences to the town.
Well, I mean, it seems like every town has different fee schedules. I mean, some of them have a base, you just go in and pay $250, you get a building
Remember,
permit.
a fee is different from a tax.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
A
Well,
fee is only supposed to cover the cost of providing a service.
a service, that's right.
So, in
But
theory,
the service is for what, the building inspector to come out and look at that. So,
For her.
And for
But it-
plan review of somebody who
right,
the administration part of it. And it also, if like a new home would also involve your plumbing and electrical, driveway, septic, all of that is part of that fee schedule. You don't charge extra except for the mechanical, which is fire department.
I'd say the plumbing, electrical, all that kind of stuff is in this fee.
It is gonna be in the square footage fee, it's covered.
And the septic should be in this fee.
Septic review is in there. And driveway permit is in there.
so the question.
but there's a separate fee for septic, because you also gotta have a fee with the state, you gotta
Right.
go to the state.
But if you were going to do, if you were going to go and change the service panel in your home, nothing else, no other building permit, just a service upgrade, that's a $50 flat rate fee. We're not changing that $50 application fee.
In theory, all of these fees should cover the cost of Kelly's salary and overhead expenses. So if, for example, you pay
Not all the.
No, it shouldn't be doing that, because if that means we're taking the money into it's going to a specific thing, not the general fund.
Right.
At that point, any fees we get goes into the general fund. It doesn't go to one specific place for her to
No, I'm not
salaries.
talking
Well,
about
you just
where
said
the
it
money
covers her salaries.
what I'm trying to say is if you want to make sure the fee is at the right level, the total number of dollars we collect from all of these fees would equal the total costs that we incur to provide them. And most of that is Kelly's salary.
If you-
Some of it is her lights and electricity and all of that stuff. So let's say that's $75,000 a year, arguably, if you put it all together, or $10,000 a year,
Whatever.
whatever it is. And we have 10 applications, we would have to charge each one of those $1,000
To get to
to
10
cover the
grand.
cost. That would be a legitimate fee.
Except we still have subdivision regulations and fees and site plan fees, et cetera, that are
I
also.
mean, you're looking at, according well, that's at the rate that's there, but I mean, that's, like I said, we talked about changing that, but I mean, just if you're staying at the 50 cents for, part of this, you're gonna have a fee, a total permit fee of $2,000, $2,100 for one place.
Isn't that crazy high?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of places, they charge you $250 for a building permit. Then you pay, say, $50 for your electrical, and the electrician has to come and, you have to have the licensed electrician come and pull it, so he'll pay $50 or $100 for that fee. Depending on where, I'm just using that as a rough number. For instance, you go, that's electrical, you go to the plumbing, that could be another $100 fee, You go to the mechanical, have a licensed person come in and put in your furnace, he may pay $2. He'll pull a permit from the town or city, and then he has to go get one at the fire department, so they can come and approve it. And if it's an underground storage tank, that's another fee. When you get done, you may be paying $500 for all these different fees, but
Kelly, do you know how much money we take in fees that you collect?
No, I don't. I don't know the revenue part of it.
Before we make a decision, we might want to find that out, because we may be shortchanging the town, or we may be overcharging the citizens.
Well, I did
think-
compare it to what it was before, so if you built a $300,000 house and it's $6 per thousand, the building permit cost was $1,800.
But
That's the kind of numbers that I'm trying to state.
How much?
but I mean, then you get
$1,800
hit for the property tax afterwards, so,
$1,800 for a building.
So,
which is
it seems to me that
ridiculous, but
that may be what it was, but that may have been wrong also. So could you get us the amount of money that we collect
Sure.
in all of these fees, what the fire department collects, what you collect for what you do,
I don't know what the fire department, that's a separate.
What's our routine of review of this?
Wow.
We're doing it now.
I know that, but
Yeah, this is it.
what would be our routine of, every X amount of years, we're gonna review this?
No, this kind of came up because Kelly,
I mean, because it's changed from $6
Well, yeah,
last year.
Right, the reason it
to
changed
50
from
cents.
$6 per 1,000 is because there was no proof of the cost of value of the house. People
Okay,
were telling
going
me
to
they're
value.
building $10,000,
Right.
then
you know, 24 by 24 garage.
yeah, the other crux to it is the way it was revised, it says, you know, based on the total square footage of the finished area,
Right.
you know, so.
And that's
Well, I'm
challenging.
just-
And then
right
it says
So my-
50
my-
cents, but then it says, oh, we're gonna charge you 25 cents for the unfinished it doesn't say that in the fee schedule, it just
Right.
says it on the back.
There's
so.
no explanation of how you calculate your finished area. So I'm looking for a definition of how to calculate it.
I wouldn't-
And if you want to,
I
do
wouldn't
half
even,
and
I wouldn't even, like we discussed at the last meeting, I wouldn't even go with finished or unfinished, I would just go with square footage. And I think we said, say 30 cents or 35 cents a square foot.
I don't care, we say 40, just.
Yeah, I think, that way you're in between the 25 cents and the 50 cents.
So a 2,000 square foot house,
They say 30 cents a square foot, no matter what's finished, unfinished,
that's $600, down from 2,100 now?
yeah.
Yeah, but a 2,000 square foot house doesn't include the basement, it doesn't include the decks, it doesn't include the.
No, but I'm
porches.
saying finished
That's
or,
essentially just the, doesn't include the garage. Once
No,
you
we
add
want
all
the
that
gross
stuff in,
area.
that's the problem.
you get the gross area. It's not finished, it's just the total square footage.
Basement,
So if there's a
garage,
basement,
but not the
first floor,
attic?
second floor,
The attic too?
I don't think the attic,
There's plywood on the floor up there, yes.
Yeah.
if you completely plywooded it, people put a piece just to walk across it to get in and out if they had to.
Yeah, that doesn't count. I'm
That
talking
doesn't
about
count.
stairs and plywood up there.
Yeah,
Bruce, we used to have, if the ceiling height was 6'8" by code, then you would count the attic space. If it didn't have that ceiling height, then it was not usable, livable, finished area, so we didn't count it.
Yep, okay.
But that needs to be in writing, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
it's
about.
not.
That needs to have, you have to
so I
have
mean, I
those
think the
words.
whole, to go, and that's what I said, I mean, and then you have people say, well, you're taxing me on finished, but it's unfinished, you know?
But if this is. if
Decks
this
are a
is-
separate issue, I mean, you know,
right.
that comes
But I think
under
I
a
wrote-
separate area, it says on the back, you have the decks listed, but I mean,
I
this-
think I
this-
wrote that down.
This is basically for new construction.
or what about an addition,
No, no.
if I put a deck on my
Every
Building
house?
permit, building
Okay.
permit application.
Yeah,
So if I have a deck that's 12 by 12, 144 square feet.
costs you 36
Jack
bucks.
wants 30 cents, that would be, I don't know, $40, $45?
Yeah, instead of 36, it's 36 cents, $36 or 25 cents, so $30 brings it up. But I mean, everything would
But we
be,
have a $50 base rate application.
but I'm saying everything would be at 50 cents, 30 cents a square
In
foot.
order to make sure that everybody, that this is fair economically, if Jack has this idea, which is an interesting one.
Yep.
Is it possible for you to do a rough estimate as to how much money the town would have taken in last year based on Jack's concept versus how much we took based on the current practice? In other words, how much
How much we
less
took in
money
permits?
is the town going to take as a result of going to 40 cents or 30 cents?
So I would have to
times?
go back to every building permit application and get the square,
Or you could go to,
Yeah, so I was thinking, wow.
I don't know. if
Beth
I-
might have a better running is how much you took in permits.
And when I first did that, I did sit down with Beth and went over this,
Yeah.
so that we wouldn't be in a deficit by changing revenues.
Yeah, so she might have an
I
idea
would
what's.
suggest we go back 3 years to get a better average.
You guys talk about.
Because you're gonna have an ebb and flow.
If you don't have two separate categories, like the 25 cents and 50 cents, if you try to make it all one, then somebody's gonna try to challenge it, because an
Nope.
unfinished basement is the same as a finished basement.
Don't put finished, just put square footage, period. If you don't put finished, you're
Gross
not
square
charging a gross square footage, you're not,
I think you're still gonna get challenged on it though, because.
well, you're gonna get challenged saying finished and then charging, you're saying finished and there's nothing in the
Yeah, so
regs
how
now
does-
that say unfinished.
Yeah, how does
So-
that work if someone only wants to finish the first floor of the house and they're gonna do the second floor
What if
some other?
what if it doesn't get
Wait for a
finished
second.
right away? What if you only finish in half the first floor?
What Jack is suggesting is it doesn't matter.
Right,
Your house is capable has X number of square feet, including the garage, the
They just put
breezeway,
the building
everything
plans
else,
are gonna show
and the
finished
deck.
upstairs, whether it's done or not.
That's how much you're paying, 30 cents.
It's still construction, it still takes time to do the permit, it still takes time to do all 4, 5, 6 inspections.
Yep.
Whether it's finished or unfinished, I don't care if you put furniture in there or,
Right.
Do you know what proportion of your time you're spending on permits?
between 4 titles that I have, probably 85% is building.
Really? And,
So I do code, health, and land use.
oh, no, but how much is related directly to the stuff for which we're charging a fee?
No, I don't know.
Half?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
At least half,
it's gotta be
60%.
clo- Maybe,
anyway.
yeah, maybe a little over half.
Okay, so take half your salary and add half of the expense
Wow.
of your office, and that's how much at least we have.
You'd have to
cover.
take some of the salary, and don't forget, we combined some of the things to make that position that she's got. When Chip left, we separated assessing, we combined some of the other stuff, which Chip had 2 separate streams that came in, and
Right.
put it into one person, so it would have to divide, you'd have to look at it, but it's kinda,
It doesn't have to be exact, but
Yeah.
there should be some sort of a ballpark.
There's a way to
to
do
make
it.
sure we're
I mean,
covering our costs.
I think
Right.
Beth has got the,
Yeah, she probably has that
she has
number.
all that, and if you've been over
And
with
I
the
know
fee
that
scale.
I take care of the 2 different budgets, the land use and then building and code. Those are 2 different, so I could look at both of those revenues.
Yep, and the
Is
idea
it-
of going back
Take a
3
lot of
years
time.
just to get an average is a good one.
Time.
Is it also wise for us to, this falls under our building permit outline, right?
Building permit ordinance.
Right, so is there something in there that tells us when we have to review that ordinance?
No.
So should there be?
But
Based
back-
upon this
you-
struggle?
You still had Boca code back in the 80s in the
Right.
code. We were trying to get it up to the international code. That's how old the ordinance was.
Right.
You- it,
So
Don't
I'm
forget, that's
suggesting
what-
that,
that was-
should we review this fee structure,
But-
any fee structure every 5 years or something like
Um,
that?
We also have a requirement that we're supposed to redo our master plan every.
No, that's not what the requirement is. The state law says we should
Doesn't say you
update
shall.
our master plan every 7 years.
Okay.
But then
So
again,
that's the
should.
barometer to go by.
You have to look back.
Well, the barometer to go by is when there's a problem, we'll look at it.
Okay.
Rather than be
The
arbitrary. and
barometer to
say
go
we'll
by
look
is
at it every
if
5
it doesn't
Yeah.
cost 30 grand, we'll probably try to do it, but the master plan's a 30
But I
grand
mean,
number,
you know,
so.
you brought up an interesting point, the Boca Code, back, that was the standard back in the 80s, because prior to that, there was no real code.
Right.
It was iffy.
Cabo and Boca we had back in
And
the
then after that, then you came with the other codes, and a lot of that didn't amount to anything. The towns took them individually because the state didn't adopt any of
Correct,
them
we didn't have a
until,
state building code till 2006.
yeah.
And
Then the commissioner turned around and said, we'll do that through the fire marshal and everybody else.
Right,
They
yeah.
developed.
Bill Degnan adopted the.
Yeah,
EIC
and the
laws,
current, and the
sat on
commissioner,
code
the
review.
commissioner of
Yeah.
safety had to sign off on it, so that's where we get all the FEMA all the NFPA regulations, all that. So,
Uniform
So
code.
we gotta continue this public hearing, is that what we have to do?
Yes.
yeah, I
Well,
think,
before we do that, we ought to realize how much work we just gave Kelly to look back.
Yeah,
A couple years.
I'm not sure I
It-
can go
it-
recalculate every
No,
square
no,
footage.
that's not necessary.
No, no.
There's another way to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I go
And
back,
get the actual data from Beth, right? about
yeah,
how much
oh yeah,
revenue-
she should have the records of it and look and see how much income, and break it down as to how much the department took in.
Okay, what does that tell you?
Well, it's gonna tell you how much we took in
Right,
permits over those
okay,
years.
so we got in 100 grand.
Yeah.
So-
But then we can also determine.
Based on
the
how
number
many
of
permits?
So last year we had a.
Well, no, the number of permits could be a permit for a deck, could be a permit for a garage, could be a permit for,
No,
everything's a
I'm
permit.
just gonna go, new
How many
homes.
feet got built?
new
Oh,
homes.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
just gonna go new homes. I'm not calculating all of the other, that's the only challenge I have is the new homes.
Right, okay, then you're gonna say if we got I'm using numbers, we got $100,000 in, you had 20 new homes. But then all the $100,000 includes the money for the deck and the garages and everything else. So it's not really a
And
good,
it's not gonna be apples to apples.
no,
Maybe-
it's not apples to apples at all.
Maybe
Yeah.
Beth has recorded the information of fees, not just as a single number, but she may have different categories.
Well, if the fee was based on.
No.
No,
Fee-
'cause she
fee
was,
was- fee was
no,
based on-
'cause the
I
fee would,
mean, I can tell you how many.
she'd collect the fee and then ship it upstairs to
Right,
Beth, so.
and I can tell you how many mechanical permits at $50 were put out. I can tell you how many decks that is.
That's great. Let's
Right.
do that.
I'm just gonna do it from
Yep.
you know,
So how many of each type
6
of
months
permit?
last year and so far this year.
Yep.
So we've had, just for an example, we had a total of 28 new houses last year. I am at 22 right now,
Good,
And more to come.
and more to come.
good. New
So
Hampshire,
we want to continue this till the end of June, or till we're meeting in June? I mean,
July.
yeah.
June, this is June.
Okay, then,
June, this is June.
Pretty much.
so Bruce, what I'm doing right now, or just so that everybody knows, is that, you know, if somebody says, oh, well, you know, this is not unfinished and not finished, I'm charging them the $50 if they're challenging me, and then charging the regular square footage for all the other finished areas. So I'm still collecting that revenue, but right now it's
Yeah.
inconsistent, so I just want you to understand.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner we get this straightened out, the better off we're gonna
Yes,
be.
please.
Yeah.
so, so for the next meeting in June, we got
June 25th, we have 2 hearings.
the expedited thing personnel, and we got Brookshire's driveway. That's it. I think we should continue it till June, whatever the day is.
June and July.
June.
June
2 weeks.
25th, continue this hearing.
Continue till June 25th, okay.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I'll come up with some numbers for you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yay, nay. Opposed? Okay. So June, we get to hear that again.
I can have Pam help me.
The end of June.
I can have Pam help me, the new tax collector. She's been helping me out,
What, your white paperclip?
yeah. So you have minutes of April 23rd
April and May,
and May 28th.
which Kelly so nicely emailed to us, and I left on my desk. But anyway.
Are we missing any others, Courtney?
No, the marked ones were approved.
Thank you.
On the April 23rd minutes,
Jack, do you need a hard copy?
Yes.
You get a hard copy, it'll save me trying to pull it up. The
I got
Um,
one.
website's a little
in the
slow.
middle of the Duck Pond subdivision,
According to Wikipedia, the website is a
the
collection
name
of
Ernie
related
appears.
contact
In that
info
case, because it's the
provided
first time you mentioned him, his last name should be included.
Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
The other thing is, there's a big space at the bottom of the page between the end of the paragraph and then Mr. Tebow spoke to several points. Close that up, because when I read it, I missed the Mr. Tebow, looked at the other side, and didn't quite understand what the 1, 2, and 3 was. But it's very clear once you realize that Mr. Tebow spoke to several points. So just shrink the number of spaces between those two.
Got it.
And on the last paragraph of the first page,
Yep.
second line, you've got sprinklered.
Sprinkler.
Say it again, please.
Sprinklered.
Sprinkled.
Sprinklered instead of
Bruce said
sprinkled.
the second line on the last paragraph, first page, sprinklered,
Yeah, it should be sprinkled.
just sprinkled.
No, I disagree.
No, it's sprinkled.
It should be sprinklered. You get a sprinkler.
Sprinkled.
No.
No,
Sprinkled.
Sprinkled. That's the term.
Sprinkled homes?
Yeah.
You want the water to fall down right away, or you want the machinery to be in place to let the water fall down? Never mind.
That's a shower.
What did I write? Sprinkler?
Just take out the
I'm
ER.
with you, Courtney,
Okay.
but they're against me.
Defending me, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Just below that, extra cast should be extra cost.
Yeah.
And below that should be extra cost, not extra cast.
Okay, thank you.
That's because their arms are broken after carrying in so much money to pay the exorbitant fees that Kelly's charging.
I thought they were talking about going fishing.
I do too, for a second.
Who's going first?
I'll leave that out.
Casting.
Oh, yeah, on the last line, the word developers, S apostrophe, it should be apostrophe S.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Should it be cost of sprinkling homes? Because she talks about that in point 2, state requirement for sprinkling homes. Cost of sprinkling homes.
Sprinkled homes. Cistern versus the cost of sprinkled homes.
Well, do we want to go sprinkled or do we want to go sprinkling?
Well, I said sprinkled in
It's
that
sprinkled
part.
up on the first part, up on the paragraph above it.
Yep, that's a sprinkled, but they're saying on the backside it says.
Yeah, but
State required for
under
sprinkling
number two, it
homes,
says
which is
sprinkling.
different- It's different context, you know, it's,
I don't know.
one's a noun, one's a verb, I guess.
Yeah, it's, right.
What do I know?
I usually defer to Neil on this stuff, but he already got overwritten on it, so.
Yeah, no, I know, I've seen it.
Still talking about the sprinkled and the sprinkling.
Sprinkling, sprinkle,
You
sprinkle.
can solve the problem by just changing the structure of the sentence.
Fire suppression.
Fire
unit.
suppression system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Courtney, on the top of the second page, Mr. Tebow's name is spelt differently than when he signed in. I think it's EAU.
Oh, yes, it is.
EAULT, yeah, it is.
Yep.
That's how he spells it.
What's transliterated? Is that a word?
Yes.
Okay. I defer to Neil. That's all right. I'm gonna look it up when I get home.
Google it.
Google
Where
it.
was that, where, I don't see the last name you were speaking of, Kelly.
On the
Top of the
second
second
page,
page.
top of the second page, Mr. Tebow spoke to several points. And
Oh,
Tebow,
I see. Okay,
yeah,
thank
and
you.
it's EAU,
LT.
LT. You're welcome.
She's saying thank you an awful lot. She's being awful nice to us on the phone.
I think spell check corrected that bit wrong.
You'll notice my
Yeah.
big word at the bottom.
He did, because Craig just asked if it was a real word, and Neil confirmed, yes, it was.
If you want me to scratch that, I can.
I like it.
No,
I
no,
like
no,
it.
we like it.
Of course,
I can go home now. I learned something new.
do what I did.
Yes, you did.
They get a term for that when you use big words like that. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called.
I won't forget it. Once I look it up.
What is it?
Mr. Francisco seconded the motion. You've got 2 in favor and 1 opposed with no space between the 1 and the O.
I saw that, but I wasn't getting picky that way. Okay, John.
Who's that?
I don't know, I was looking at
On
that.
the
sentence
second,
says-
on the second page.
Second page, Mr. Francisco seconded the motion, but the vote was 2 in favor, 1 should be a space opposed.
There's no space between one and opposed.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
That's a gimme, come on.
That was Bruce. That was Bruce.
That's pretty hard.
She did that on purpose.
You left that to the end.
Well, that could have been me. Cut, you know, that she cut and paste.
Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Then make a motion.
You moved.
Bruce,
Making a motion? Look,
No, you are.
I'll make a motion, or I'll second it, I don't care.
No, you just made it.
Okay.
Bruce made a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Anybody second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. I wasn't
No,
here.
Bruce was first, second.
who seconded?
Pastor Bill.
Pastor Bill.
Oh, I, you,
And I
voice.
Oh, I should abstain then.
And I abstained. I wasn't here.
Okay,
That doesn't matter.
Well, wait a minute.
thank you.
I wasn't here for the meeting.
Come on up.
It passes.
Yeah.
Technically, I should.
Wow, a kind welcome and recognition. Nice
Three.
job.
Okay, May 28th.
There we go.
We haven't done that yet.
Second line down.
Second line down.
Conference call, Bruce Fillmore should be vice chairman.
Whoops.
Are you getting a position we don't know about yet?
Bruce Fillmore is vice chairman, not vice president.
Yeah, Biden's taking a woman, not a man first.
Yeah, you gotta be a woman now to be vice president.
I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot
Neither
pole.
am I.
Nope,
Anybody say anything?
Nope, I didn't hear. We are on TV, by the way, and people are recording this.
Smile nicely.
I'm leaving that alone.
Yeah, boy.
No politics.
Page 2, number 3, discussion, the code office, code enforcement office.
Which paragraph?
Clear down at the bottom.
A,
Oh, at the bottom? Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Did you get that one, Courtney?
It's hard to hear, Bruce.
On the second page, rule number 3, discussion, under the code office should be code enforcement
Okay, thank you.
office, well, code enforcement
Office.
office.
I understand.
I'm okay.
Yeah, it's the rest of the world.
I don't see anything else. Unless I missed something.
Everybody's all set, I think.
Yeah. Make a motion to accept the minutes for the 28th of May as amended.
Second.
Oh, wait a minute.
Discussion.
Discussion.
I'm still thinking.
Bruce, go. I mean, Craig's got one of these things.
I'm trying to figure out how to reword the sentence that says, continuing, the chair explained he does not approve granting allowance of private roads in the town of Ware.
I was just gonna leave that alone.
I knew you were. You weren't the chair that was saying it.
Yeah.
Well, I agree it's true, but my point was I don't,
You're not a fan of it.
I don't see how we make private roads out of a strip of land. How that strip of land suddenly became a private road, I do not understand.
Well, it was a driveway.
It was a strip of land privately owned with somebody having an easement over it, now it's a private road. Somehow.
It's got 3 houses.
Somehow somebody's got rights to this road now. Who has rights to the road? I don't know. But how that happened, I don't understand.
It's
What's the
like,
difference between a triple driveway and a private road with 3 driveways coming on?
I don't know, except you need a variance
did
for
that
both
up
of them.
on, what was it? Maple,
Sparrow.
off of Maple. Old
Sparrow Lane. Yes, I didn't understand then either.
Maplewald,
I kept my
Sparrow,
mouth shut,
now
didn't think it was
Hoyt
gonna
Road.
happen
I
again.
know. It's, I don't disagree with you. We had this discussion. I don't disagree with you that I think it's not a good practice, but at this point, it's like,
How does it happen?
how do you let, same question, how do we let class 6 roads get turned into
Well,
driveways?
at least the Class 6 road,
Yeah.
I know how it became a road.
Yeah, but I
A
mean,
private road, how did it become a
it
road?
was a driveway that got allowed to be built on.
Did everybody give their permission to make this become a private road? Is it?
They had to, if they went through the
Did the
board- the
mortgage
zoning
com-
board of
does-
adjustment.
Does their mortgage company know that this happened to their land?
I don't know. I think that's outside of,
No, it's not.
no, I thought we got a
Right.
legal opinion on it.
we did get it,
I don't know if we did or not. I didn't
but
get
it went
one.
to the zoning board of adjustment for it
Let me-
before it came to
let
us.
me look that up for you.
I mean, who knows? I mean, people lost and gained rights through this whole private road thing, and I don't know how it happens.
Should this be something that you ask to meet with the ZBA, have a discussion about this?
I had a discussion up there before this happened, but didn't think it was gonna happen at the time.
There's nothing clear
Yeah,
as to
I know,
how,
concept, so that they get other input, rather than, a pleading by some people who are personally affected by the results of their decision.
We could invite zoning members to your meeting, because they're not meeting anytime soon.
Well, I just don't understand.
Right. Yeah.
Well, anyway,
do we have?
I don't, and I don't disagree with you. It's like,
I just don't see how the town has the right to do that.
That's
mean,
that's why you need to meet, because these guys aren't gonna change
You have,
unless they're told.
you have landowners A, B, and C. C wants to build a house, he wants to access it over A and B's property. Who,
they give them an easement. If
Okay,
they give them
they
an
gave him an
easement to
easement.
it.
which
Yeah, but
theoretically devalues their property, which therefore the mortgage company should sign off on a release of that easement. So therefore, this
I don't-
easement now becomes a private road.
I don't think that's our responsibility.
Why does an easement become a private road?
It just did.
It did. I don't think
I don't
that's-
know
That's a
how.
name.
I know.
It's an easement. It's not a private road.
Yes, it is.
But they gave it a name.
we
It's
just
right
did.
here. It's a private
Mostly
road.
for,
The fact that
for
they
the fact,
choose
for
to
fire
call red
protection,
black
for
doesn't change
911.
the fact it's still red. It's an easement.
Well, every road's an easement.
Yeah, every road is an easement, pretty much, unless
much.
they own, unless it's
Mo-
deeded
mo-
and
Most
owned
of
by.
them are easements, but
Most of them are easements. Except the interstate.
some of them the town has rights, therefore it's a public easement.
It so
Sometimes it's,
violates the concept of 2 driveways is the maximum. There can be 2 shared driveways, and that's it,
Right.
not 3.
how about if we change it to something, the sentence, continuing the chair explained, he does not understand how private roads are created in the town of Ware.
I don't think you could change it, because you already put it on the public record that this is a discussion.
No, I'm
He's
not-
not changing it, he's just.
Changing the
saying-
minutes.
The minutes,
How can you change the minute if it's
I just
already
did.
recorded?
it's draft.
What does it say now, Craig?
But you're changing what was also put
Continuing
in
the chair explained he does not
recorded
approve
record.
granting allowance of private roads in town of Ware.
Why don't you leave that and just add, the chair is in doubt that the town has the capacity.
And that would be,
to create
that would be an
private roads.
amendment added to tonight's minutes.
Yeah.
You have to add it to
How about if
tonight's
we vote to approve these, then we'll have a discussion on it. And we'll put it in tonight's minutes.
Yep, that's what you
Yeah.
have to, that's what you
All in
have to.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so these minutes are approved, Courtney, and then we're gonna have a discussion
As
about
amended.
private, yeah, as amended, approved as amended.
Okay,
Have a discussion on.
Now we're gonna have a discussion about private road,
next item that's not on the agenda.
but do you want me to set something up with zoning board for like August workshop meeting?
I might.
No,
you know,
I would prefer a meeting with Mr. Drescher and you and I.
Okay.
And Mr. Fillmore, if you'd like to join us.
Yeah, I'd like to go.
Because we still have to finish Jack's template from.
Craig, is there anything in state law that you know?
No, that's already been
Three
approved.
houses on it?
What do you mean?
I asked
Back to
Naomi, and
private
she
road?
wasn't sure.
No.
if
Yeah, it
we
was.
actually
No, I don't know
approved
anything like
We
that.
approved it. It's now got the list on it. We did that at the selectmen's meeting, went through you, we did that back months ago. For Class 6 roads.
Class 6 roads, but wasn't there something on private roads you had too?
No, we hadn't done that on private roads. It hadn't, it was been a discussion, but nothing formally
Because
done.
that's the legal opinion I'm thinking of.
Yeah. There was something that came from,
Is Ann's Drive a private road? Yes. Correct?
Mr. Chairman, would you like a motion to adjourn?
No.
No, did you want to make your comment first before you get into the other
Can
thing?
I ask one
I have another
question?
comment?
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Courtney.
So I just want to clarify on page 2, above lot, the lot line adjustment, 1, 2, 3, the 4th line above that, Mr. Kirk stands in agreement of private roads in general. Was that in agreement with the chair, or he's in agreement of having private roads?
No, I'm with the chair. I agree with the chair.
It's one of those few times Neil and I agree with each other.
Right, so it needs to be reworded, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
How would you like me to write it?
The chairman will tell you.
Mr. Kirk stated he's in agreement with the chair on the
Hi, Eric.
private roads in general. How's that?
Good, thank you.
You're quite welcome. One thing we haven't done is elect officers this year yet. Imagine that.
Officers?
Yes,
Okay.
we're supposed to do it yearly.
Mr. Meany moves that,
me,
Mr. Meany, seconded by Pastor Stockhouse, moves that the chair for the ensuing year be Craig Francisco, the vice chair be Bruce Fillmore, and the secretary be Neil Kerr.
Amen.
I see I made that motion.
Okay.
I'm like a
You made it?
ventriloquist.
Okay.
I will second it.
Okay. Well,
Oh, no, he
He
can
said
second
Pastor Bill
it. So I'll
seconded.
agree with it rather.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Jack made a motion, Pastor Bill seconded. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I know it's a formality, but we gotta do it.
Okay.
What else, anything else?
We still haven't finished
Jack,
subdivision, but
If you hadn't done that, you would have been secretary.
I don't think I can hold a position of
you
that as
can't.
the ex officio,
No,
no.
he's ex officio, we can't hold a title.
Yep.
So it's you.
No, it could have been Frank.
That's true.
Or it could have been, or Bruce could have been put back
Yeah, we
into
could
that.
have put Bruce.
I'm sorry, did I?
Yes, we're on
I'm not.
TV.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Yes, I'll take a motion, Neil.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, Mr. Bruce.
Bye, Bruce, bye, Courtney.
Good night, everyone. We could shift
Night, Courtney.
Bye.
Have a great